We must differentiate black men. You have some who are like Pookie, no good, sag their pants, have no prospects. They're going to end up living off of the government, i.e. prison, or living off of a female, i.e. their baby mama. And when people say black men need to get it together, I don't get offended. I know what they're talking about. They're talking about Pookie. And when I say Shanigwa need to get it together, you need to understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these fat ones. I mean, there's so many stretch marks they crisscrossing. It's terrible. There's stretch marks everywhere. You can play tic-tac-toe. The stretch marks go like this. You play tic-tac-toe in their stomach. So yeah, it's vile. And I don't respect them, and they need to be reformed, and they need to be marginalized, and their influence in the world needs to be removed. There's always something going on. If you're waiting for all green lights, you will never drive anywhere. Life is a green light, a red light, a yellow light, a broken stoplight. Life is that. Recessions will occur. You're listening to imbeciles who are saying, oh, it's a recession. Don't start a business now. Oh, you going to keep a job now? Because your job is secure during a recession. Are they idiots? A job is a component of a business. So if a business is failing because of recessions, they're saying businesses aren't good during recessions, then your job is not good. Your job is not stable and steady. That's pure stupidity. There is always a business that will thrive. For example, during a recession, people need cheaper goods. During a recession, people change their spending habits. For example, you might start eating Spam because it is a low-cost source of something that appears to be meat. Whereas during prosperous times, you wouldn't eat Spam. So that business might start thriving. Different businesses thrive under different circumstances. It is idiocy, and it is someone who has no expertise who's giving you that advice. That's the problem when you get free advice. That's why you got to pay me some significant money to have a conversation and get some goddamn information. You have idiots who will sit at a bus stop and tell you how to get a Rolls Royce. You have idiots who are sitting in a Toyota calling themselves a success coach, and they're giving you their podcast from their Toyota. And you look at that and trust that? Yeah, losers will always explain how to lose. And winners will always explain how to win. Check this out, though. What people don't realize is that everyone is winning. This is what I mean. We're all winning at what we've chosen to win at. So the people who are telling you don't become an entrepreneur and they got a job, they're 9-to-5ers, they're winning at what they chose to do, which is to be a 9-to-5er, which means your income has a cap on it. Which means you actually don't have any security because your security is only predicated on the success of that business or your manager, whether he likes you or not, or sees your merit. They're winning at what they chose to do, which is to be a wage slave. We all win at what we choose to do. The problem is that sometimes we win at the wrong thing. We were too scared to go for all the Marlboros. We were too scared to become an entrepreneur, to become an innovator, to step outside of what everybody else is doing. And think about how idiotic that is. This microphone is from a business created by a business owner. This table, this computer, these cups, all of it. This pen, shout out to Marcos Hurtado, who actually blessed me with this pen. This is an entrepreneur, and I'm using his pen. I'm supporting his business. And the fact is, everything on me, these clothes produced by entrepreneurs, why can't you be one of them? How idiotic is it for someone to tell you not to be an entrepreneur? You know what they're really telling you? They're really saying, I don't believe in you. They're also saying, I don't believe in you, and I don't believe in me. And because I have low self-esteem, I'm projecting it onto you. You see, you have the single black mother who is unruly, is mentally ill, and she raises weak offspring, generally speaking. And her weak offspring, the females follow in her path directly, unruly, masculine females. And the masculine woman, you know, she's the model for the female. So she just tracks the behavior and becomes the duplicate. But here's the challenge for the boy. When you have a single black mother who's masculine and mentally ill raising the boy, she then looks at him as a reflection of the man that left her. And she secretly jabs at him and destroys his confidence and self-esteem, turns him into an emotional wreck as he's maturing. And so he matures and develops in a broken state, which is why he's an emotional wreck and unstable and weak. Do you guys ever sit back and wonder, like, wow, why is everyone so scared of Marquett? It's because I'm a man. You don't get to see one every day. You don't get to, especially these guys, they look in the mirror and they don't even see a man. They look in the mirror and they only see what was left by bad parenting. The shadow of what a man could have been is what they see. Any person who defends the behaviors of a ghetto lower class black woman is a disgusting enabler, which needs to be eradicated from the culture. And what I want you guys to understand, if you're like, Marquett, why did you start roasting this fat black grizzly bear broad? Why'd you start roasting Lunel? I started roasting her because A, she got up out of her body, start trying to disrespect me. I won't tolerate it. And number two, you have to let these people know that you will always be confronted with force. Because understand this, a bully only respects force. In fact, they only respect a greater force. That's the only time they yield. Otherwise, a bully is going to just keep bullying. And here's the funny thing. I mean, what sense would it make for me being this big to act small? Let a broad try to bully me? I mean, it's a ludicrous concept. You dig? She could have been a 6'6" male. I ain't letting her get over. You heard me? I'm going to take every opportunity to go the whole mile. And you got to put these broads in their place. And let me let you, every woman that's watching, your place is below a male leader. You heard me? And if you're not under my leadership, don't engage me. If you're not seeking to be under my leadership, don't engage me. If you're at work, do your job. But otherwise, as a civilian, stay out my way. And that's why I got at her foul, because she needed that.
Alex said, appreciate the game on recession.
You dig? There's no such thing as a recession for a hustler. There's hustlemania and hustlemania. Those are the only two seasons in Marquettifornia. We have two seasons, hustlemania and hustlemania.
And I told myself I'd never come on here if it was off topic, but I had to come on here and tell you, man, please keep going with your message. You know what I'm saying? I'm a young dude out the Bay, specifically Oakland, bro. You got to keep going with this shit, bro, because this shit is the truth, bro. Damn near everything you done spoke on, from geopolitics, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really care about that shit until you started talking about it anyway, but you got to keep going with this shit no matter what, bro. You one of the realest. I ain't gonna say the word because you know we trying to stop saying that shit. But you one of the realest on here. Please don't never stop, no matter what the algorithm is doing to your work or any of that, man. Please keep going with this shit.
Hey, I appreciate that, fam. Thank you. Thank you. Peace to the saints.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute you.
Mike, you on here to defend these grizzly bears?
Nah, not to defend. Before those guys got off, you said you was gonna like educate us. So I just wanted to say good evening to you, Mr. Devon. But yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know, just get some education on it. I'm out here in Arkansas. So okay, first, the way that I heard, yeah, my bad. It's kind of stuttering. Yeah, so just the way that I heard it, you said looking for VIP, and she tried to give you some problems and then try to turn it up. And like you said, you was gonna look for a man's, you know, give him that work, but she ain't had no man's. So then you said it escalated and she tried to like swing on you or something?
Yeah, she threw her a couple punches. Of course, the thing is with people who don't fight, even if she was a male, she still wouldn't have been able to land the punches because you can't really assess distance. Because the truth is, say you go play basketball, you know how far the rim is when you at the free throw. You know how far the rim is when you at the 3-point. You can't just show up playing basketball once every 4 years and be able to get that ball in the hoop, right? And that's what people are trying to do when they fight, because most civilians, they don't throw hands, so they don't know the distance it takes to land a punch. Now, in my case, I'm throwing hands damn near every day. So she was really signing herself up for something she wasn't going to win. And if her man was there, he would sign himself up for something nasty. But the fact is this: in no society is there a situation where there's no such thing as shame. Shame is when we make you feel bad for doing the wrong thing to make you not do it anymore. You heard me? So the thing is, when she started coming at me with that kind of behavior, I'm getting at you foul to let you know, number one, your behavior was inappropriate. And number two, I'm the wrong one. Of all the motherfuckers in here, you want to get that crazy? I ain't the one. And you always gotta live like that, because people are going to keep flexing on you. And the worst thing, especially if you look a certain way, you got to be even more turned up. And in my neighborhood, there's a couple every now and there's a couple white people on the gang, couple white bloods, and it was always the most lit. You heard me? Real moves, active gangsters, active gang members, rap sheets, putting in work, earning stripes. Why? Because when you look at the neighborhood, everybody black. You got one white boy that's throwing up West Side Denver Lane PDL. you know he got to show out to let you know, like, I'm not a sucker. I'm not from Mayberry. I grew up on the soil. So if you look a certain way, you got to turn up even more. But the thing is, at the end of the day, we can't tolerate that kind of behavior from, as they call it, our women. She ain't my woman if she don't know how to respect a man. As far as I'm concerned, she an enemy and she needs to be put in line.
Yeah. Okay. I feel it. Cause I don't know about the other cats. I don't know what they was talking about. At first, I was like, man, he going hard on her. He keeps saying, fat black woman. I was like, yo, sheesh. But I know, rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. Not trying to bring up the dead for no clout. But I'm 26. I'm in Arkansas. I'm Haitian originally. So I like how you come sharp with it. Like, you don't come with all that outside stuff. You're really Machiavelli in Sin City, really. Rest in peace to him too. But you're nice with it. So I don't know what the other cast was talking about before, but I know the way in my heart it started off, it was like, man, I don't know what that lady was going through, but I do know they have some problems with understanding leadership. And I'm not here to be like, you got to follow me, you got to trust. So I'm glad you wasn't physically hurt. And it's just like, you got a lot of regal to you, bro. I don't mean to call you bro. We don't know.
I get
but
you. Yeah, I hear you.
Mr. Devon, like, you got a lot of regal to you. And I'm like, man, look up to you, G. So I don't know what circles you move into, but it's like, when little stuff mess with you like that, I'm like, man, just what Kendrick Lamar say, push him away. So I'm like, man, don't sweat it, bro.
There's some wisdom in that. There's some wisdom in that. We got to get to the next piece of the show, but there's some wisdom in that, which is to stir without being stirred. Master Sun Tzu says, stir without being stirred, which means that if you watch back the video, she mad as hell. She mad. She big mad. I wasn't mad at all. Because let's think about it. If I was mad, I would have boo-bapped her and she'd have been outro. You heard me? Yeah. I mean, and when I say outro, I would have hit her so hard, her neck might have broke. You heard me? If I was mad, but I wasn't mad. And so the key for me, and a lot of black folks don't understand this because we want to be nice. It's failed over centuries. No, when you encounter an enemy, you put they in the dirt, period. I appreciate you calling in.
Peace to the Saints.
Peace to the Saints.
Armel said, peace to the Saints. I know you said we should try to get rich females. I'm just trying to figure out where they're at.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. Oh, man, that's a good question. There's a number of places you'll find them. There are some situations where you can't even be there unless you have money. Like, for example, when I was in Monaco, a lot of people like to tour around the sites in Monaco, and the number one listed site is the Monte Carlo Casino in Monaco. And if you're in Vegas, you can just walk in and out of casinos. But in the Monte Carlo, they charge you is it like 15 euro or something like that? 20 euro. So they charge you 20 euro. So about $22 just to walk in and look around. So there obviously are not going to be people who are casual there, and that the per capita income in Monaco as a country is very high. Operas, conferences, elite universities, those are places you're going to find higher caliber women. I think that if you check out my video called Why I Only Date Rich Women, it literally gives you a list. I go through a list of places, auctions, beauty pageants. There are a lot of places that you're going to find them regularly. And when I say auctions, I'm talking about like auctions for like rare exotic vehicles.
Irmac said, I heard a brother mention why most Black women act out of order towards Black men is because we're in a gynocracy set up by massa. What do you think?
I think it doesn't really matter, meaning that Black folks are hyper focused on what happened in the past. And a lot of losers in general, not calling Black people losers, but losers in general are concerned with the past because it makes things easier because you can't change the past. So what they do is they harp on it. But winners are focused on what is the present? What am I going to do today? I don't need to figure out all this deep stuff. I need to figure out what I'm going to do today in this moment and how that's going to create tomorrow. And so trying to figure out like, what are the impacts of slavery on the African American today? What are the impacts of the Jim Crow laws? What are the impacts of the welfare system that was created by the whites? Like, nah, we don't need to figure out all that. Now, what we need to do starting today is the first basic, which is role definition. Confucius, an ancient Chinese philosopher, he defined 5 basic relationships. It turns out they relate to hierarchy. You always hear me talking about hierarchy. You dig? Like when I'm around younger men, I should not have to carry anything. You heard me? They should carry my bags because I am an older man around them. They should carry my bags. Hierarchy. When you have sons, your sons should carry your bags, not because you can't lift them, but because of hierarchy. Confucius defines 5 basic relationships. I'll give you an example. He says ruler and subject, which is like to say king and subject. He defines older sibling and younger sibling. He defines husband and wife, which is to say, here's one position, here's the other position. If there ever is a conflict, this position will make the final decision. If you don't have role definition and hierarchy, what you have is eternal warfare, because you have people who are equal going and butting heads. When you have one that's a little bit above, we say, well, if it's a vote and you got 2 votes and I got 1 vote, we're going to let you make the call. Then we can move on. But the problem is, especially in relationships among African Americans, you got the female who cannot get herself under control mentally. And because of that, she butts heads with the male leader because she gets confused into thinking she is the leader. And let me tell you how comical that is. I will never look at a female and find her to be my equal. When you do not have the personal power to walk down an alley at night and feel comfortable, you are not my equal because you are scared of what lurks in the dark. I am what lurks in the dark. You are not my equal. And also, you sweet dudes out there, you're not my equal either. I'm a monster to you. You dig? And if you want to know, like, wow, he seems like a savage. Yes, that's right. You wonder what an alpha male is? That's what it is. Y'all are sweet and nice. That's your problem.
Much respect, Saints. Robert said, I second what the caller Rich said. Keep up the good work, Saint. Also, bad behavior must always be checked.
Indeed. Because, you know, especially if you're in your city, like I'm in Saint City, I'm not about to be disrespected out here.
Rob's back said, if she don't got a male leader, she is an animal. MDB. Saint, I believe it's our fault as Black men,
yes,
not us specifically,
right,
for why our women are so unruly. There is no moral leadership. Thoughts?
You're correct. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in more eloquent ways, articulated, or, you know, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, articulated that a woman must always be under male leadership. And I'm not spreading Islam. He said it more articulately. I said it succinctly so we understand. You're not under a male leader, you're an animal, period. Because when a woman is under her own leadership, where's she going? Shopping. Where's she going? To the spa. Where's she going? Nowhere. You might wonder, why does a HOE need a P? She need a P so somebody can manage the money, because you ain't going to be beautiful forever, love. You might feel beautiful forever, but you won't be. You need somebody who can take that money and put it into something that's going to last us into our old age and our dying days. When he asked, is there any moral leadership? No, there isn't. And a lot of Black folks are so goddamn weak, especially the males, to where they have all this kumbaya stuff. You heard the saint come on, and I can't blame him. He has a beautiful heart. He says, well, why don't you just let that go? We've been letting a lot of stuff go. That's probably how y'all ended up in slavery, letting stuff go. One thing you'll notice, the difference between the Black man and the white man, think about it. How many places have the Black man went around and colonized, took over, murdered, pillaged, and all that good stuff, took over, said, yeah, you were here, but this is my land now. Not many. We too busy being nice, letting things go. That's not the way. There's a time for war. Do not neglect war.
On Cash App, we have Zachary came in. He said, tuition, peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints.
Said effing facts, Saint.
Yeah.
And Craig said, peace to the saints, tuition for this game.
Yeah.
Quad Play said, tuition, peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints.
Rico said, you sound dismissive of causation of circumstances.
Oh, Rico. Oh, tell me more.
So how do you explain failures within an unfair?
Oh, it's unfair. No, it's unfair. No, the whites. The racists.
Very kind of him.
Oh. And then he says genius. He's being sarcastic. That's cute.
I think it's a nice compliment, though.
Oh, Rico. I'm going to read that again. A little sweetie pie. Rico, if we were in jail, I'd make you hold my pocket while we walk around. Make you fold my underwear. Little sweet boy. Rico writes, You sound dismissive. I like this terminology. I can tell that he's grown up in these liberal institutions. His mind is that of a liberal white woman. Rico writes, you sound dismissive of causation. This is a term that you often hear in research, causation. You hear this in research, and the academics, they tend to over focus on research and study. They study the problem endlessly, only to never solve any problems. And that's why you find that when we have political leaders, they're rarely academics. They usually are not men of letters. And when I say of letters, I'm talking about like those PhDs, those really smart guys, those postdocs, because they don't get anything done. They think and think and think and never get to action. It's feminine. Then he writes, so how do you explain? That's the thing, my boy. I'm not trying to explain anything. I'm getting to work on solutions. I'm not trying to talk about it. I'm getting to work on solutions. You see, there are some things that are broken, they're going to remain broken. Like that fat black grizzly bear who thought she was going to speak up on the big homie and then had the nerve to run up on me like she would physically dominate me. She's lost mentally. She's clearly in her 30s, mid 30s to late 30s. You cannot heal a mind like that. The best thing you can do is make sure that she doesn't spread her poison and holosophy to impressionable young girls. The best thing you can do is to create stigma around her way of living. Why is she so aggressive? Well, because she wasn't raised right. Why must she remain aggressive? Because she doesn't have a male protector. You see, I said, go get your man, which is to say, send your representative to talk to a boss. She didn't have one. So now she tries to step up into the male position and inhabit this aggressive posture when in reality, in a state of nature, I would have put her down easily. I mean, easily. You did. And it would break my heart to have to do such a thing. So I didn't. It was an accommodation. But what I want you all to understand is that if the black people ever expect to get the black women in order, we're talking about African Americans largely, if you ever expect them to get in order, it must be by force. There can be no compromise at this level because they are too far gone. It is what it is. Oh, yes. And so he says, how do you explain failures within an unfair? It's not fair. Man, this boy is so vaginal. Good Lord. It's unfair, you dumb fool. Everything is unfair. The only time you experience an approximation of fairness is when great men like me create that for you. Weakling. Nothing is fair. For example, you were born with this level of IQ. I was born with this level of IQ, and that's not fair. Just is what it is. I was born 6 foot. Some people were born to grow up to be 6'5". Some were born to only be 5'4" as a man, which is challenging. It's not fair. We all have different talents. Nothing's fair. And that is sometimes why we create these stories to make us feel as though there will be some approximation of fairness, even if it's only in the afterlife. Sometimes man creates God so that they can have this idea that there's some greater force at work to create goodness. They tell lies about things like karma, saying, oh, karma's going to get so-and-so. Karma's a lie. If karma was not a lie, how could I be born to a mother on crack? I didn't earn that. I was a newborn baby. Karma's a lie. Only a fool believes in such things. A fool who is immature, weak, emotionally fragile. The only fairness you will have is the fairness that you create. And let me promise you something. When it comes to the saints, I want things to be unfair in our advantage. We look at who's within our group and we take care of the people within our group. My group is the assassin, the saint and the sinner nation. You dig? I want them to be on top. For them to be on top, others must be on bottom. Who will be on bottom? Those zombies, kind of like that fat black grizzly bear girl. She deserves to be on bottom. You heard me? And if we bring back slavery, I'm signing her up. But anyways, Rico, you're probably one of those coffee shop revolutionaries who have done all of zero for people in general and for black people in particular. Let me tell you, on the other hand, what I've done. Well, I'm not going to. You can actually Google this stuff. I don't need to speak on it, but I'm sure there are many in the chat who have benefited from my work. Who's benefited from your words? There are people who have benefited from my work. Who's benefited from your words? We have a lot of sophists in this era. We have a lot of preachers in this era. You are Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. That's what most of you guys are. And you even get fooled into these internet gurus sit here in front of a microphone and babble at you about things that they failed at. They want to tell you how to get a relationship. They got failed marriages. They want to tell you how to become wealthy. They've been broke for 50 years. You're an imbecile. And I say that with the same attitude you called me a genius, which is one that is quite malicious. Carrying on.
Craig came back on Cash App right away. He said, I am what lurks in the dark, too real.
You heard me. Come on, man. Play with me.
Jay Kinsey sent tuition.
Peace to the saints.
Daniel came in on Super Chat, said, peace to the saints tuition.
Peace to the saints.
Gravity Film said, how should a man deal with an enemy as soon as you encounter them, anywhere or with calculation?
The master Sun Tzu points out that victory is fashioned from the dynamic of the enemy. That's one piece. And the other piece, the master Sun Tzu states that victory is to he who is superior in pre-engagement calculations. The engagement, like that's the battle, but who prepared before the battle, that's who will win. For example, like right now, if you were to walk in here and say, Marquett, I want to throw hands. Fantastic. I already worked out earlier today. I'm extremely loose because I had some good stretching. My body's warm, and I've been practicing the fine art of boxing for quite some time. I'm ready to throw hands. My pre-engagement calculations have been great. And also, I have a number of other things to assist me if for some reason these don't work out, and I am willing to use them. So the pre-engagement calculation on my part has ensured me victory. Further, victory is fashioned from the dynamic of the enemy, which is to say, not every fight you win through physical violence. The master Sun Tzu says the highest form of warfare is to attack strategy itself. I repeat, the highest form of warfare is to attack strategy itself, not attack the enemy, but attack strategy. That is, anticipate what they're going to do and stop them from being able to do it. If they can't run any plays, they can't get in the end zone. You dig? So that's high level stuff right there. You dig? Yes, indeed.
Robert Ball said, what if a man is with a woman who is clearly smarter than him? Although not the rule, there are many women who is smarter than men. Do you think a smarter wife should lead a husband?
If she was smart in the truest sense, she would have found a proper mate. Certainly being mentally healthy is a component of having true intelligence. No woman should deal with a man that she does not find to be her superior in a significant number of ways, but undoubtedly every person is the superior of another person in some way. There are many times I take correction from people who are younger than me, less experienced, less educated, all the time, because people have great advice to give. But if you're a woman that finds yourself to be significantly brighter or more ambitious than your man, you probably have a psychological disposition that makes you feel as though you should be on top or in the dominant position. You have some level of something wrong in your psychology. It's the same thing when you observe women. You'll see like you got one girl who's like a 9. She's a knockout, a beauty, and she's hanging out with 2 short, fat girls. And you're like, why is that? Well, that's because she wants to feel like she's the one. She can't handle competition or peers. When I go out, I want to be around guys who are good looking, strong, tall, athletic, accomplished, wealthy, because they're peers. They're on my level. I want to be around people on my level. And if we see some chicks and the chick like looks at me and she looks at the other guy, she's like, oh, I want him. Fantastic. Let me make an introduction, because I have enough self-esteem and self-worth to know that this is not the end of the world. And I love my brother and I want the saint to have good things. Let me make an introduction, baby. Like I want him to win. But it's the person who has sickness in their mind who can't handle someone being on par with them or someone being in advance of them in some way.
Rico's back since he wants to keep sending his money in to talk.
Read it. Go ahead.
He said, so while your performative act is entertaining.
Oh, he thinks he's an intellectual. I like that. I like that.
You readily admit you offer no solution.
Oh,
like
goodness.
most vapid empty barrels, you make the most noise while saying nothing.
Oh,
Good
nice.
day leading the blind, sir.
Oh, very nice. Rico, now let me give you guys an example. Watch this. Watch this. I've done this trick many times. Voila. Rico, we have a link. I invite you to come online and let's have a conversation about it.
Trapweeze is back on Cash App and said, more tuition for the idiotic remarks from Rico.
Oh, yeah. He's a silly fella.
Ahmad said, I'm 23 and this woman who's interested in me is 37.
Woo!
At first, I thought it was cool. Thinking deeply now, I actually became kind of disgusted. She's moderately attractive, but the age gap is disturbing.
It's a big age gap. And not only is it an issue of, it's not only an issue of the gap, it's the nature of the gap. It's that she's older than you. Like, for example, every day I get DMs from chicks who are 19, 20, 21, all the time. DMs, holla at me in person, all kind of stuff. It's not as disturbing because it makes sense. Women want a guy who is secure. Men need time to become secure. With the woman uses finances as a proxy for what they call security. Or they want a guy who can lead. And often, the more mature a man is, he's had experience and he's had time to develop the skills of leadership. So historically, in humankind, we've seen that females go for older men. Also, the female body is going to age more rapidly. So they have things that they need to take care of earlier in life than men. So they go for older guys. But on the other side, where you have an older woman going for you as a younger man, bruh, she leftovers. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, go ahead and beat it down. And I would keep her, Jeremy, marginalized, get her for what she's worth. But beyond that, I would definitely not take her seriously. I would not take anything she says seriously. I would not get into like a meaningful relationship with her, because you have to ask yourself, how did she live on this planet with a vagina and no man wanted to hold on to her to have in-home vagina? She clearly has some problems. And at her age, she's found a way to hide them so that she can at least deal with you to get some of the emotional needs she has taken care of. But undoubtedly, you can only hide those things for some amount of time. The conference is a very serious 2-day event that gives you education and network that will impact your life. But the important thing to understand is a lot of the events that members come to for free, like actually, I guess that was a free event, the movie night. It was free. I mean, it's members only. Now you do pay for a membership, but the thing was, if you pay for a membership, that's $20, and then we spent $500 on room service, then, and there's only like 10 people, 10, 15 people. Yeah. Then yeah, it's free because I pretty much paid for everything, and the cost of what, I paid for exceeded the cost of your membership. So yeah, in as much as that's the case, yeah, it's free. But I personally don't like free. I am a capitalist, and free is not good. Think about the things you get for free. Public toilets. Look at the state of them and how people treat them. You might travel to some countries and you'll realize that there's some toilets that are not free. So you might be in the public and need to use a restroom, and then you're trying to go into the restroom. They're like, whoa, you got to give me like €2 or whatever the currency is in that nation. And you go into that toilet and it actually looks nice because you paid to get in there. So you don't have homeless people in there. You don't have crazy people in there. And the people who do go in there, they see a cleaner toilet because the people who own it and are charging you for you to go in, they maintain it and they clean it. But when you see a free toilet, like you might at a public park in America, they're vile little places. They're missing toilet paper. It's just not a pleasant place to be. So free it's completely opposite of what I teach you. I teach you capitalism. I teach you business. I teach you responsibility. I teach you pay what you owe. As a man, pay what you owe. You should not want anything for free. You should not accept anything for free.
Isaiah sent a quote.
Be determined and advance. To say that dying without reaching one's aim is to die a dog's death is the frivolous way of sophisticates. Yamamoto Sunitomo. It surmise that's a Japanese person.
I was thinking.
Yes.
And Daniel sent tuition.
Peace to the saints. You caught up?
The baker said peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints.
I think we should play the video again, though.
Yeah. Is anyone wondering where my boy went? Where my boy Rico?
Oh, they're encouraging him in the chat to join.
But he disappeared, didn't he?
I think he's still in because someone was able to tag him, and you can only tag people that are watching. So he's watching, but he's acting like he's disappeared.
Oh, I see. Oh, so Rico has all those big words, but when it's time to stand up like a man, all of his big words, he doesn't have the heart to say them. Oh, wow. That's what it's come to. Rico, by the way, if you're at home and you're considering, I'm not even going to say, probably going to get me banned.
Yeah,
What I want to say, what I wanted to say right now, going to get me banned. But Rico, I just want you to do it. What you're thinking about right now, do it. Do it. World will be better. Do it. Do it. Rico, do it. Because I know right now you feel shame because you're like, this a-hole invited me on in front of everybody, and I already talked all that talk, and now I'm scared to come on, and everyone knows I'm phony. That's right. We know you're phony, and you know you're phony. So that thought you're having right now, do it. Carrying on.
Yeah, he's here. People are still tagging his name.
Oh, poor little fella. Poor fella. And that's another thing that people have to understand is that, stay in your weight class. Don't try to deal with people who are outside of your weight class. It's just not proper. Like even me, I stay within my weight class. I was last night, I was hanging out with one cat, and I'm not going to say his name, but we were doing some boss stuff, and I probably shouldn't even say that publicly. Let me just say, like, there was a guy who is fabulously wealthy, and we're doing some boss stuff. And let me just give you an example. I don't even want to get into it. I don't want to put this man's business out there. Let me just say, know your lane. You hear me? Like, I was in a situation, and this cat has so much bread. I was like, bro, this is out of my budget. I'm not messing with you. This is out of my budget. And I say that with no shame. Because we just got to know what time it is. We have to be fine being who we are and where we are. You hear me? Remind me to tell you that story. It was crazy.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Isaiah said, exceptional words of wisdom from the big homie. Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints.
The baker is back and said, Quet should get that sponsor from Nike. Do it.
You dig. Just do it. Boy, Rico flabbergasted. Oh, me.
On Cash App, we have Marvin said, moving to Vegas next year, what areas are best?
Well, it depends on what you're seeking. Me, I like the Strip. I like 24-hour, just life. I like people, I love to see people up going 24 hours. I like that it's, still light out in the middle of the night because they got the bright lights, big city vibe on the Strip. And so I would probably hop in one of those high rises on the Strip. If you're a young bachelor with some good income. If you have a family, you probably want to go towards Summerlin or South Point. Those are nice real estate places where you can get a single family detached home.
Johnny sent tuition on Cash App.
Peace of the saints.
Gravity is back and said, how to deal with the woman who gives you petty, smart remarks because they know you deal with other women and they scared of competition.
Well, a woman who's voicing those kind of remarks that are negative, you have to ask yourself, is this who she is? And if it is who she is, then that's not going to change. So you either have to decide that you're going to deal with it and maybe limit her role in your life, or you're not going to deal with it and you're going to show her the door. But what you can't do is become flustered every time you hear it. I mean, think about how goofy that is. If your wife is a fat black woman who looks like Lizzo and you see her overeating, well, that shouldn't frustrate you. That's who she is. So don't ever get angry at a duck quacking or a dog barking. That's what they do.
Carry on.
Yes, let me see if I can pull up the second video. This is where I was trying to lure her little fat self out of the restaurant because in a casino resort, there's a bunch of cameras everywhere. But in the restaurant, there's no cameras because there's no gaming tables or slot machines. So I was trying to get her to come out. So just in case she happened to connect with one of her swings and I happened to KO her, we could have it in 4K and the security could see how it all transpired. Look at this one. Here we go.
I've asked if they want to come
She
on
writes,
screen.
so are you going to discuss ghetto white women in your next video? Well, yeah, when a fat ghetto white woman tries to assault me, absolutely. I would love to make a video about that. It just so happens that all the females who have ever tried to assault me happen to have been of the Negroid persuasion. Huh, how'd that happen? That's very strange when you consider the fact that the African-American population is about 13% of America. And let's say half of that is female. So half of that would be about 6.5%. So about 6.5%. So out of every 100 Americans, 6 of them are women who are black. And that small 6% has tried to assault me at least 2 times. One of them I actually did have to slap. She ended up trying to hit me with a case. I'll tell you that story if somebody asks for it by super chat, but otherwise I won't get into it. But the point is, your problem is that you don't take responsibility. And that's why you are not fit for leadership. And that's why you are of the many who need to come under some real leadership. Because instead of saying, you know what, Quet, that fat black grizzly bear is dead wrong. Number one, a female should never talk to a male like that in general. In fact, my grandmother said, and I wrote this in my book, The Black Box, she says, if you can't whoop them, shut up. Which is to say, if you don't really want smoke, shut up. If you're not going to go the whole mile, shut up. And if we would have went the whole mile, it would have ended so bad for her. Like, you just saw your boy on TMZ for breaking her neck.
No, you've never been to trailer parks.
He writes, oh, well, I'm sure you can find them. Have you ever been to the trailer parks? Well, see, dear, again, your problem is that you're distracting from the issue. Right now, we're talking about the issue of these fat black ghetto women. And this is more critical to me because I'm associated with them just naturally, because you have people who like to group us together because we have the same skin, you see. So if they say this is your woman, then I want to reform her. If she's going to go under my name, she needs to be reformed and get some act right. And what we won't do is tolerate this kind of behavior. We will admonish them. We will stigmatize them. We will shame them. We will do everything we can to marginalize them and stop this behavior. And you are trying to escape blame. I'm not blaming you. Now, you probably are a fat black woman the way you're behaving. I'm not surprised. You probably are a fat black woman, which is why you identify with this. Because consider this. If someone showed the opposite, they showed an African-American male who was unkempt, unruly, immature, sagging his pants, cursing and behaving like a fool, embarrassing himself, and they were saying we need to get guys like this under control, I wouldn't start speaking up to defend him. And I wouldn't start saying, well, what about the white guys who are sagging their pants? I would say, no, you are correct. These boys need to be brought under control. They are misrepresenting themselves and our culture, and we must stop it. It's called responsibility, dear, and that is something you are trying to escape right now.
Holly said she'll get heart attack running after you.
I hope so, because we don't need her.
Elias asked if we checked PayPal. I did read your PayPal about the big booty cutie earlier, so you can watch that on replay. Outside said, tell us the story, G. And then Diedrich came in on Cash App and said, I got to hear that other story.
Oh, which one?
I think the one that you said that you're not share.
About Shorty, huh? Okay. So you didn't change the rules up on us, huh? Okay.
Diedrich sent.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so yeah, I'll tell the story real quick. Long story short, I grew up in like the Los Angeles area, right? I grew up in LA County. I went to elementary school in LA City. I grew up in LA County. So I went to high school in LA County. The homie went to this one school in LA. I ended up dealing with a couple of chicks that went there. One of them was a scallywag. You heard me? So she was really only good enough to get smashed, and that was it. So after I smashed her, I just curved her hard. And then, one day I was out in Old Town Pasadena, which is like an outdoor strip mall kind of situation. What's a strip mall? An outdoor mall. Yeah. It's like an outdoor mall that you walk through. And at this time in life, I was like a pretty typical, young hustler, and in LA gang culture, you tend to roll around deep. So I'm out with the homies. There's probably like 20 of us. We mobbing through Old Town. And we see like 4 girls walk up, 4 African-American young ladies. And one of them walks up on me, and this is the one I used to deal with. And then she was like, hey, I need to talk to you. And actually, let me be accurate. I never maxed her out. I'd gotten physical with her, but I actually never maxed her out. Let me be accurate there. She's like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, yeah, but I don't need to talk to you though. So kick rocks. And she's like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, nah, that's out. And so I keep walking, and then she like grabs my shirt. Now I got on an Armani shirt, and at age 15, that's some serious bread. And unlike a lot of folks, it wasn't like a fake Armani shirt. Your boy been 100 since way back. So she starts grabbing my shirt like, bleh! And I slapped her hand like, bleh! And at which point she felt like disrespected, I suppose. And she's with her 3 accomplices, ghetto black girls, and she says, give me the knife. And then one of her friends pulls the hawk out like swiftly, like they had it ready on clutch. And that was kind of the weird thing to me. And mind you, if you dating a shorty and she just carry a hawk around, that's not normal. Maybe unless she's Puerto Rican, but otherwise that's not normal. So that's a bad sign. So her friend hands her the knife and she busts that bad boy open and then has the nerve to start swinging it in front of my face. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, when I was in high school, I was a real goon. Like, whereas today there are things I wouldn't do. At that time, there's very few things that were off the table. So she's waving the knife in my face, like, you gonna talk to me. And in my head, I'm just like, oh, word. Like, now that you put a knife in my face, now I want to talk to you. That's crazy. Yeah, I was like, hey, look out with that knife. Quit playing with me. And then so I like step to the side, and then she steps to the side and keeps waving it in my face, at which point I blacked out. Wow! Reached back like a pimp, invented a new back slap, parked her like a Cadillac. Wow! It was like the hand of God had came and slapped the daylights out that girl. So yeah, I slapped the daylights out of her to the point where she literally dropped the knife. I don't know if it was like an involuntary reaction, but the pimping came up out me, just jumped up out me. Ha-da! Anyway, so I slapped her. The homies start dying laughing. Her friends rush forward. The homies grab her friend. I just start walking the other way. Now, she didn't run after me at this point because I think she realized, like, it's like I slapped her, just like woke her up. You dig? I think she realized, like, oh, this boy's a real goon. Like, I probably shouldn't run after him because that's not going to go well. Her 3 girls still didn't get the picture, so the homies were holding them. Anyways, we carry on what we're doing. We hop in the whips, dip out. Next day I hear that bang, 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 bang at the door. And I'm like kind of thinking like, man, who's like banging at my door? Like that sound like the police. Cause you don't just show up to black people's house in the hood without calling first. You heard me? And if you do show up, you gonna knock like respectfully. You don't just be banging on people's joint like that. So I grab the clapper. I come downstairs. I look through the peephole like, oh hell nah. I'm in my drawers, right? Cause that's how I sleep naked. So I was in my drawers. So I look through and I see that big hat, like off some highway patrolman type stuff. So then in my head, I'm like, all right, I caught a case right here. So I might as well go ahead and get dressed so I don't have to go down to the station in my drawers. Now, me, I'm not the type of guy who's gonna like, oh, I'm not gonna answer the door. Cause if you've ever been in crime, they will bust your door down. I didn't know who was out there, what the situation was. I was like, let me just go, do whatever we got to do. So I go get dressed. I go upstairs, put on some socks, some shoes, basketball shorts, come back down. I open the door and older white guy who's looks like a trooper, like basically serves me. He's like, you've been served. I'm like, what, my guy? And I close the door and I look at it and it's basically a restraining order. I'm like, what? And I don't even know who would have hit me with a restraining order. And then I see Shorty name on it. I was like, oh, word. Long story short, I end up having to go to court for that. And it was all fine. We got it taken care of, like charges dropped because she was lying. So that was one of the beautiful times in which the truth actually came out, but I damn near caught a case.
On PayPal, we have Quadri said tuition. Appreciate it. Peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. By the way, you gotta love these nerds out here who do all this babbling and then they don't want to come on when you invite them. It's sad.
Caleb said, please do tell us the story with the suitcase. Peace to the saints.
Suitcase. Okay. I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, so that was one of those times I had to, had to give it to her. But, what you learn in maturity is that, obviously catching that case and having to go to court and then having my fate in someone else's hands. And ironically, the judge on that case was a white woman. You don't ever want your fate in the hands of a white woman, you dig? But fortunately, things went well. And that case was dropped. And the judge even asked me if I wanted to slap a restraining order on her since she had the hawk. But back in that time, I was not one of them boys that's gonna appeal to the law to protect me. Like we don't live like that.
Caleb said, he said case. I thought he hit her with a suitcase.
Nah, not at all.
Abdullah said, peace to the saints. Quick question. You promote having a product-based business. I don't have good ideas for a product. Do you think it's a good idea to become an affiliate for good products instead?
It could work for you. I mean, if you have some amount of clout, then that might be profitable. But if not, you'll be getting pennies on the dollar. And, it's good to add up pennies, but you have to add up quite a few of them.
Terrell said theory. BW developed a culture of resentment and independence to Black men for centuries due to slavery, blaming Black men for it happening. Thoughts?
I could speculate on that, but the real question is, can you undo any of that? No, you can't undo it. Were any of these women today in slavery? No, they weren't in slavery. So really, that's not the right question. A lot of what I do as a businessman, as an executive, as a manager of teams, is I'm always encouraging people to ask yourself the right questions and work on the things that matter. Too often the Blacks like to look into history and they're obsessed with slavery. It's just really just bizarre. And I don't think they realize that many peoples have been enslaved, not just Black peoples. And I've said this many times, the word slave, the etymology, Slav, this word comes from the Eastern European, which the idea that the Western Europeans thought that these people were fit to be slaves. And also research would teach you that a lot of the Greek city-states, namely Sparta, after they conquered a people, they would enslave the conquered people. So slavery is very much so a way of the old world. It is common among many peoples. And it did occur in Africa, obviously not in as much a violent form as it did in the Americas. But at the end of the day, all that historical stuff is not going to solve what's going on today.
Error is back and said, I grew up in the LBC, moved to Australia, and I've worked hard to travel the world and enjoy life. My homies love to blame the white man. I'm like, you don't even know any white people, so how are they stopping you?
Foulness. Oh yeah, man. It's people blame the white man and then people thank God. It's those two things I find to be very curious because they're both like ghosts. You see, they're like ghosts. It's like they thank God for good things, but it's like, okay, well, if God is all powerful, then like those bad things that happened to you, was that God too? And are you going to get mad at God for that? The lack of fairness, can you pray that out of existence? People live in fantasy and they live in worlds of their own creation instead of living in the real world, and that's not a manly thing to do. My boy said I would have instinctively counterpunched. You did. I'm telling you, bro. And that's why when that fat rascal had ran up on me, I was just saying to myself, don't let her land a punch because it's going to be all bad. And there's no such thing as like this counterpunch being soft. It's going to come out fast and straight, you know what I mean? And on target. So, she could get this work if she wanted to, but I had fun with it. I enjoyed myself. And that's the key, is not to get worked up over goofballs.